Okay, so these are my thoughts about the England-Argentina game. I feel like I have a few thoughts on a few different levels, but what I want to start with is Tuchel's performance as England manager. I think it's probably going to be a pretty commonly held opinion that he bottled this game, that his tactics were not impressive, that they were, scared tactics, not brave, that really England let Argentina play the game, and that's just true. But I think what's getting less flack, but not necessarily deservedly so, is the squad selection just throughout the whole process. The roster selected for the tournament, the players that featured, the players that started. It's just from head to toe a ridiculous, foolish, almost like embarrassingly arrogant tournament performance from a manager. And I think that people got carried away with England winning games and making it to a semifinal, and knowing that England's roster, has talent, has a lot of players from the Premier League, has Harry Kane, who's, if not the best, at least second or third best striker in the world with Mbappe and Holland. Because that's what Mbappe is. He's a striker. He's not a winger. So we got to include him in the striker conversations. But, I don't rate Anthony Gordon, but he's an 80 million pound transfer to Barcelona. Declan Rice is a, very good player. Elliot Anderson's fourth most expensive player of all time now. So, on paper you hear these names and you expect, oh yeah, England's going to be one of the, the most talented teams at the tournament. But they really, if you extrapolate and you take away the flag, you take away the kits, you take away the name recognition, and you just look at, the performance on the pitch, England did not have a good tournament. They did have a nice game against Croatia, although they did look vulnerable. They gave up 2 goals. But they scored a lot. The Croatia game was a good performance from England. If every game was like that, you'd say they had a great tournament. So I'll give them credit where credit's due. But the next game, Ghana, deserved to lose. Got away with what should have been a penalty from Konsa. I don't get how that's not given. I get maybe why they don't give it, because decisions tend to go the way of big teams. But if we're being honest, and England fans are being honest, that's a penalty. They score that penalty, you lose that game 1-0. And then you have your third group stage game, which was against, was it Paraguay? I think it was Paraguay, Panama. No, it wasn't Paraguay, it was Panama. At halftime you were drawing that game 0-0. You do end up winning, but it wasn't a convincing performance. So you get over the line, but in a non-convincing performance against Panama. You deserve to lose against Ghana. And you have a nice game against Croatia. You have a very good performance against Croatia. So the group stage, you'd say, one great performance / good performance. Maybe not great. One good performance, one not great performance, but you got the job done, and one just embarrassing performance. It's not exactly like a great resume. You go into the knockout stage. You very well could have lost against Dr. Congo. You got bossed around the pitch for the majority of that game. And yeah, Kane heroics did save the day. It did take Dr. Congo's keeper playing really well, and a second division Spanish winger playing really well. But that's not a game that England, Democratic Republic of the Congo, that's not a game that should be close. And it was not convincing from England. And you didn't get lucky. You did deserve to win because Harry Kane was brilliant at the end. So I'm not saying you got lucky, but it did require 2 moments of brilliance from Harry Kane. And on another day, if Wisa doesn't hit the post, you very well could have lost that game. You could have gone to extra time. You could have lost that game if Harry Kane's amazing second goal, where he roofs it into the top of the net. If that doesn't go in, you lose that game. If that doesn't go in and the post doesn't go, the Wisa's chance goes in, you lose that game. Next game against Mexico. Yes, I know it's in Mexico. That's a very tough place to play. I was actually expecting Mexico to win that game. So the result is good, even though, like, in a neutral site, beating Mexico 3-2, having to defend for half the game, it's not, it's not like brilliant, but considering the circumstances in the Estadio Azteca, yeah, it's a good performance. But then if we look at that performance, what went wrong? Well, you got Kwanzaa sent off, so you had to defend with 10 men. You sat back for the majority of the game. You scored 2 goals in quick succession from moments of brilliance from Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham it wasn't a goal line clearance, but the Mexican player had it 2 yards out, and Jude clears the ball. So again, you're relying on moments of brilliance from players. You're not tactically dominating. You're not controlling the game. Mexico controlled the game, just couldn't score enough goals and gave up too many. And again, this is what happens with England. You took the lead and you sat back and you got scared. Then you played Norway. Again, by the way, we've played the Democratic Republic of Congo, Mexico, and Norway. This isn't exactly a host of challenging teams. And you played earlier in the group stage Panama, dog shit. You played Ghana, who, isn't. I mean, they're not even the best African team, and African teams don't make it to finals of World Cups. They're not even the second best African team. It's Ghana. It's not like a powerhouse. And then you played a Croatia starting a 40-year-old Luka Modric. I mean, it's not like the golden age anymore of Croatia. You play Norway, who, by the way, should have beaten you. The goal that got chopped off for Norway is ridiculous. That's not a foul on Holland. Norway should have had a penalty when, I forget which player, but one of the Norwegian players was two-hand pushed from behind onto the ground by an English player. By the way, the same thing Holland did to have his goal chopped off. So, I mean, I'm cool if you call one and not the other, but it's the fact that you took away Norway's goal first, and then when the England player did the same thing, you don't call the penalty. Additionally, England's the ball on the goal kick hits something that's not in the field of play. The play should have been stopped. So realistically, that goal should have been chopped off. Norway should have, either had their goal stand or been given a second penalty. And then you get fortunate that the Norway keeper spills it right in front of Jude Bellingham for a tap-in. So it's just like, not that. I mean, first of all, the refs screwed Norway. A properly refereed game, Norway wins that game in full time, without having to go to extra time. Wins the game, not ties it and goes to extra time. Wins the game. So you didn't play well. Norway played better than you. You got very lucky, both with the refs and with Norway's keeper just having a momentary lapse. You're not a good team. You're not. And what did you do at the end of the Norway game when you scored your second goal? Did you attack? Did you control possession? Did you do what Spain do, where they keep the ball and don't let you have it? No, you sat back and defended. And by the way, Norway had chances to equalize in that game too. Just as Mexico had not as great chances, but a few chances to equalize in that game. This is the England blueprint. You go one goal up against a team that you are either way better than on paper, or at least even to in Argentina, and then you sit back and you defend like cowards. Where's the brilliance? It's Thomas Tuchel being paid, what is it, $5 million a year? $8 million a year? We're expecting some tactical brilliance from, Champions League winner, Thomas Tuchel. What brilliance is there? I can do that. I can sub on Dan Burn and tell everyone to sit back and defend. I know how to make the formation a 5-4-1. It's not impressive. It's cowardly. It's pathetic. And by the way, if you just told your players to possess the ball, you've got enough quality on the ball. You've got 115 million pound Elliot Anderson. You've got Declan Rice. You've got, by the way, who should have played, Kobe Mainu. You got Jude Bellingham. You've got players to possess the ball. What are you so afraid of? But that's how England are. England did not play this tournament like they thought they were a good team. England played this tournament like you would expect a team like Czechia to play, or a team like, honestly, the USAs of the past, where you hope you can nick a goal and then you sit back and defend for the rest of the game. and you either just win it 1-0 or, by 1 goal, and then once it hits, as soon as you go up, England, as soon as you go up, you guys sit back and defend. It's weird. It's cowardly. It's not befitting of a top nation. But that's the background. I just wanted to say, England's not a good team. They aren't. Look at the performances. Not a good performance good performance against Croatia. Terrible performance against Ghana. Mediocre performance, but you got the job. You got the result against Panama. I won't criticize you for getting the result, but you weren't blowing anybody away either. So it's not going to count against you. But I'm also not going to count it as a great game. Did not look good against Dr. Congo. Terrible performance. Looked actually better against Mexico than that game. But again, it's not like you dominated Mexico either. Mexico could have won that game very easily. You're not France. You're not beating teams. You're not blowing teams out. And then Norway. You should have lost that game. If it was officiated fairly, you lose that game. And they played better. It's not like, you were controlling the ball and they just had a few nice chances. No, you got dominated. And then you play Argentina, and the game's pretty scrappy. There's no shots on target in the first 30 minutes. And then you have a Kane. Kane plays a very good pass in, goes out to Morgan Rogers. Morgan Rogers crosses it, and Gordon, fires it home. 1-0. Guess what? Up until that point, do you know who didn't look dangerous? Argentina. You didn't look dangerous either, but it just was like a scrappy game with nothing really. I mean, there were a few chances, but nothing like. It wasn't really that much knocking on the door going on. And then you decide to sit back, sub off your players that can actually. First of all, Christian Romero and Lisandro Martinez are both on yellow cards, and neither one has been subbed out. You're playing a team where both center backs are on yellow cards, and neither center back is super pacey. Neither center back is super physically dominant. I'm not saying they're terrible, but they're not known for their pace. You have Anthony Gordon, who I don't like as a player, but if he's got one thing, it's pace. Morgan Rogers is quick. Rashford's quick. You've got players to stretch the field. You've got Madueke, who's a terrible football player, but he's fast. You know what you should have been doing? Even if you did want to sit back and defend, keep a player with pace and Harry Kane on the field. Tell Harry Kane to serve as an outlet and tell the fast player to make runs in behind. You want to know why? Guess what that's going to force Argentina to do? Either sub off one of their center backs and waste a sub, or they're going to have their center back sitting farther back the field so that they're not getting exposed. What's that going to do? When you head the ball out after a messy cross, when you are able to clear the ball to about 5 yards out of the 18-yard box, you're not going to have Lisandro Martinez and Christian Romero recycling the ball and sending it right back into Messi like they did in the game. I mean, that's the reason you look. When you're going to sit back and defend like that, you do actually need one or two players to, even if you're just putting pressure so that when you can clear a ball, you at least get 10 seconds of breathing room. You didn't have that. But if you were going to coach like this, Tuchel, if you were going to be a coward, someone who wasn't going to attack the game, if you were going to do this, then why is the squad you selected the one you selected? Why did you bring Kobbie Mainoo? If you weren't going to play him, what does Kobbie Mainoo offer? He offers something that no other English midfielder offers. He offers the ability to carry the ball with a certain silky, saucy, dribbling ball carrier mentality, and he plays a good pass. Now, Jude Bellingham's a better player. Jude can carry the ball, but Jude does not dribble like Kobbie Mainoo does in tight areas. Jude's a very physical, fast, strong player. Great positioning, great shot. I'm not knocking Jude. Jude's better than Kobbie Mainoo. I wouldn't have started Kobbie Mainoo over Jude. But when you're playing teams like Democratic Republic of Congo, and you're playing Declan Rice, who, by the way, is a very good player, but he's not going to play like a piercing ball. Declan Rice plays a lot of negative passes, a lot of sideways passes, and he's a defensive presence. Elliot Anderson is a very similar player. Neither one of those players can unpick a defense, can create space, can carry the ball and make something dangerous like Kobbie Mainoo can. And I'm not saying Kobbie Mainoo's a better player than either of them. That's not even what I'm saying. I'm saying he offers something different. So why did he not play ever? How come in those games where you were struggling to unpick a defense like Democratic Republic of Congo or Ghana or Norway at times, why would you not play Kobe Mainoo? Why would you not try to give it something? Because if you were never planning on playing Kobe Mainoo, just bring like Adam Wharton or something. If you just wanted to sit back and defend the whole time, why are you even bringing Mainoo? Why are you not bringing a player like Harry Maguire? If you wanted to sit back and defend like you did against Argentina, like you did against Norway for a stretch, like you did against Mexico for a stretch, like you did against a lot of teams throughout this tournament, if you wanted to be able to, take the lead by 1 goal and sit back and just cower in fear, Dan Burn, great squad selection. I knocked the Dan Burn squad selection at the time. You want to know why? I didn't think you'd be parking the bus every game. I thought that you'd actually try to beat teams with quality and tactical dominance and superior skill. I didn't think you'd actually just try to nick a goal and then cower in the box. So in hindsight, I apologize for criticizing the Dan Burn selection. But then at the same time, why is Maguire not in the squad? Especially when you consider that if you're going to be a team that parks the bus at the end of games once you have a lead, it's possible that the opposition will equalize. In that case, you are going to penalties. Harry Maguire is a brilliant penalty taker. He's the best defender penalty taker that England has. So if you can take off someone like Konsa and stick on Harry Maguire, and the off chance you go to pens, that's going to pay back nicely. But the problem is, you're going to sit back, you're going to sub on someone like Dan Burn, but then why not bring Harry Maguire into the squad? Harry Maguire is aerially dominant. Harry Maguire is experienced for England. I mean, it's not like Dan Burns has experience in these situations. It's not like Konsa does. Even Gahey, who's a good player, doesn't have the type of experience that Harry Maguire does. John Stones is the only English defender you brought, only English center back, I should say, you brought with that type of experience. It's just a nonsense decision to not bring Harry Maguire into the squad. And it's a nonsense decision to not give Kobe Mainoo a single minute, especially when that's the exact type of profile player you were crying out for throughout many games in this tournament. So, long story short, Tuchel didn't just botch the tactics last night. He also botched the squad selection, deciding who to bring, who to play, who to start, who to sub in. And it's just a pathetic decision that the English FA has decided to keep Tuchel for the 2028 Euros. I think that there's not a manager at this tournament, bar Roberto Martinez for Portugal. He can be another video. Other than Roberto Martinez for Portugal, there is not another manager at this tournament who has had a more pathetic, embarrassing performance. And before the tournament, I liked Tuchel. I thought he's a good coach. I would have taken him at United, but I don't think a single manager's stock has fallen more than Tuchel, because I don't think anyone really rated Roberto Martinez. But I mean, I think Tuchel's done irreparable damage to his career with this England performance. But he's making $5-8 million a year, whatever it was. So, he probably doesn't care. But Tuchel, you are an absolute disgrace.